Happy and blessed Saturday, everyone. This is your girl T, coming from T's Corner with an opinion about something, as always, because when do I not? I want to thank you all who do view my videos, those who comment, those who view and don't, whether you like them or dislike them. I appreciate the view. And also, just because when I'm venting or I'm talking about a subject or just giving my opinion or being silly or whatever, it's actually cathartic for me because I work some things out while talking to this camera and, you know, in essence, talking to you. And so today I want to talk about new television shows, and one in particular, which I'll get to a little later. If my camera is jumping, I apologize. It's because I'm moving on the bed and, you know, that thing. I'm old and set in my ways. And by old, I mean 36, and set in my ways, meaning I watch the same television shows I've watched since I was a teenager. I listen to the same music that my parents listen to because I don't like new stuff. It's usually not good. And that's music, television, movies. Everything was better when I was younger. And I know old people always say that. And when I was a kid and my mom and my aunts and uncles and everybody's talking about, oh, well, when we were coming up, and I don't nobody want to hear that old stuff. And now I'm old and I'm the same way. I'm telling my son, man, y'all cartoons suck. This sucks. Y'all toys suck. We had this, and this. And I will tell you, my son is 7. And he agrees with me because I have kept some of my old things and he wants to play with my stuff. But now, you know, when you get old, your stuff isn't toys anymore. It's collector's items. And I'm like, no, you're not playing with my stuff. But anyway, I digress. So television shows. Television shows is what I want to talk about today in T's Corner. A lot of new shows have been popping up, and the preview is so that I'm like, I have to see it. And so I've been watching a lot of new shows lately, which is different because, you know, I watched Law and Order and NCIS up until Ziva left, and CSI Miami, and pretty much nothing else. But I got addicted to Underground from the pilot. I got addicted to Underground. And the newcomer that really amazed me and stuck with me, and I became an instant fan, is actress Amira Van, who portrays Miss Ernestine. So if you have not seen Underground on WGN and you don't know who I'm talking about, shame on you. And if you have, then you know what I'm talking about. Miss Ernestine is not to be played with, and Amira Van is an amazingly talented woman. Never heard of her before Underground, and now I'm just absorbing Amira Van material because she's amazing. The same thing happened with Greenleaf on OWN network, Oprah Winfrey network. Greenleaf, it's in its premiere season. It's only 10 episodes, and this is going to be kind of like a review recap, me just going through my stuff, but I've already watched the first 8 episodes, so it's not like I don't know what's going to happen from, you know, one to the next. So if I run into something that hasn't happened yet, it's because I've already seen the first 8 episodes. And now that I've seen the first 8 episodes, I'm very unhappy that it's only 10 episodes long, because it's not going to be enough to feed this new addiction of mine. With most shows and movies and whatever, the lead character normally becomes the favorite, because they're the one that has the most material. They get the more meaty things. They get more camera time. And because you get to know them and you get to see them more than the other characters on the show, they generally become your favorites, which would go without saying. Unless they're just like some terrifically bad person. But then we all know we love the terrifically bad person too. What has really captivated me about this show is, first of all, if you don't know what Greenleaf is, if you have not seen it, again, I don't know why, but it's on Oprah Winfrey Network. Oprah Winfrey executive produces and has a recurring role as Aunt Mavis. We'll get to that, but we'll just start with episode 1. And I have the OWN app here, so if you see me looking down and stuff, I'm looking at my phone because I'm trying to be as accurate as possible and to give in the details of this show. So in the opening, in the opening of the show, the pilot episode is called A Time to Heal. And it opens with Grace Greenleaf and her daughter Sophia riding alone in a town car, Uber or something, coming from the airport. And the driver recognizes her as Grace Greenleaf, the preacher. And, you know, she lets him know, yes, I am Grace Greenleaf and I don't preach anymore. And he's running on about what his mother thought of Grace and Calvary, which is the church that her father pastors, Bishop Greenleaf, which will be introduced to us in a few minutes down the episode. And it seems as if he's making her uncomfortable by reminiscing about these things. And she asks him to stop the car and let her out, and that she'll walk. And he's like, you know, well, the house is, you know, just up here. And she's like, no, that's fine. We'll walk. So they get out of the car. He helps them with their luggage, and she offers him a tip. And he says it's included. That's how the app works. She says, well, you said your mother was a member of the Calvary. Did she ever give money? And he said, well, yeah, I would assume that she did. And she gave him the money, and she said, well, take this as a refund, a partial refund. And that already makes you think that Grace has a problem with the Calvary. There's something going on at Calvary that does not sit well with her, because why would you offer a member a refund? What is the church not giving you that you want your money back? So automatically my interest is piqued, because I'm like, okay, what is going on with this church? And so they're standing at the lake, and her daughter Sophia asks if this is where Aunt Faith, and she says yes. We later find out that Aunt Faith has committed suicide, which is the reason that they're back. Grace is the prodigal daughter of Bishop Greenleaf and Lady Mae Greenleaf, and she left home 20 years ago and had not returned until the death of her sister, and she came to pay her respects to her sister. So she says, I'm going to stay for 2 days, and then I'm going to go. And she's headed to New York to see about a new job. And she's a journalist, television journalist, I think. And so when they get to the gate, it's this expansive gate, and, you know, the house, and she's like, well, they've done a lot of building up, you know, since I lived here, which means that, you know, financially they've come up and they've made some changes. And the young guard at the gate has no idea who she is. And when she tells him, you know, I'm Grace Greenleaf, he's like, oh, you know, I thought you were coming in the car. Let me help you, blah, blah, blah. And a more distinguished looking older gentleman comes out. And he's got salt and pepper hair and the little curls and the beard, and the facial hair is all salt and pepper. And he's looking a little debonair and quite fine. And you catch the eye contact between him and Grace. And you think, okay, yeah, there's something there, but you don't know at this point whether he was family, is he family, or a friend, an ex-lover. You don't know who he is, but just from their initial interaction, you know there's something there. And so she introduces her daughter, and her daughter also is like looking back and forth between the two, like, yeah, I see something. And so they drive up to the house, to the main house, and they're talking about what she's done and things that have, in the past 20 years, how things have transpired since they last seen each other. And he refers to her as Gigi, which is a nickname, and of course it makes sense. Her name's Grace Greenleaf. And so they pull up to this amazing house, and they're in Memphis, and I think they're actually filming in Atlanta, but it's staged in Memphis. And this house is amazing. And the family is out, and their servants out helping with the luggage and stuff. So they got money because they got servants. So they definitely have money, and they have this amazing house, and they got security, and they got gates, and then, you know, they got the gate, and then you got to go another mile before you get to the front door. So they got money. This is big money we're talking. This is mega church money. And I'm sure lots of people, Christians and those who are not, have opinions about mega churches and their money. And this show deals with that, which is something new and refreshing. It's a conversation that people have been having privately and amongst like-minded individuals. And this show, and the creator, what's his name, Craig something, I can't remember, I'll have to look, but gives you a glimpse into that thing that people are talking about privately, and they're making it a public conversation, which is necessary for a lot of things that go on in society and in the communities and even in the churches. These things are being discussed privately among family, among friends, and among like-minded individuals. And when you discuss a topic that is controversial among like-minded individuals, then you only get a portion of the picture. when it can be viewed on a broader spectrum. Then you get different opinions and you get to see different sides of that conversation, and not just the part that, you know, you are normally privy to, or the part that you are a part of. And I think that's good. And so we're going to deal with some mega church stuff with Greenleaf and OWN. So, you know, I think that Oprah and her network and the people that she's working with have done a good job on that. And I'm still looking for this guy's name. That's why you see me looking down and not looking at the camera. I don't mean to be rude, and I look people in the eye when I talk to them. But I'm trying to find something. And I don't know, the guy's name's Craig Wright. Craig Wright. I think that's it. The creator of the show is named Craig Wright, who used to be a minister, and he's actually a white man, which is also really, really awesome, because it's like, it goes to show that this is a white man who was a pastor, and he has wrote this show about a black family in the church. And it just goes to show you it doesn't matter. Race is not important. We all experience the same things. And, you know, this could have been his church or my church down the street, you know. We all go through the same things. And it's like, it really brings home for me that life is not different. And in this time where we're dealing with all of these social injustices and racial inequality, and it's just crazy, and little black boys are being shot, and we're all running around chanting Black Lives Matter, and we want to see a change, the reality is that hate and dislike are taught. Because reality is, and I know I've said that like 100 times, but reality is, we are not very different. The only thing different is our pigmentation. And in the general scheme of things, that is a very minuscule thing. It really is. Like I told you, I work through my stuff when I talk to y'all. So that's an opinion, and that's, you know, some stuff. And I haven't always been this enlightened. I will tell you that. You know, I've had my moments where I'm like, these white, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But you grow and you learn. And when you do, you know, you look at it. And I was never taught to hate. Never. So it wasn't that. It's just that, because society teaches you to believe that you're different, you do. And then when you learn that you're not, it's like an awakening. So, yeah, we're not different. So this could be, you know, what's this guy's name? Joel Osteen. This could be T.D. Jakes' church or Joel Osteen's church. Doesn't matter. So when they get there, Bishop Greenleaf, played by Keith David, and I watched other reviews of shows, and I've watched, God, what are they called? I don't even know. I'm not prepared. I'm sorry. I just felt like talking to y'all, and I've been watching Greenleaf and just hung up and having my own marathons at home, because OWN ain't having one. OWN is having a Love Thy Neighbor weekend, and I am having a Greenleaf weekend of my own. But there is a couple on YouTube, and you can, you know, reference their videos, and they are hilarious. They're a married couple named Lynette and Stanley from Virginia. So shout out to my birthplace, 2 up, 2 down. We do that in the DMV. I live in Maryland, but I was born in Virginia. And they have a their page, if you wanted to subscribe, is called Random TV Reviews. And they review a couple of the shows on OWN Network. And I was just going through stuff, and I'm an obsessive person. I say I have OCD of entertainment. I'm an obsessive compulsive person with my entertainment. And when I find something new or something that piques my interest, even if it's not new and it's just new to me, and it piques my interest, I have to absorb everything that I can about it. And right now, that thing is Greenleaf, and that person is Merle Dandridge, who plays the lead character, Grace Greenleaf, or Pastor Gigi on Greenleaf. And so in just looking up things, Merle Dandridge and Greenleaf, I came across their reviews for this week's episode, which, whew, and I had to go back and start looking at other stuff, because they are hilarious. I mean, their opinions are real. They give you some sound word and doctrine in them. But it's hilarious, and they're a married couple of 14 years, and it's just great to see a married couple who've been married for 14 years who still enjoy each other. They sit down and they watch television together, and then they share their opinions on YouTube with the rest of us, and they're having a great time. And that's just, you know, if you know, this is what you want to think marriage is about. You know, not 14 years later and we don't see each other and we can't barely stand each other and we just married because we're married. So anyway, Lynette and Stanley refer to Bishop Greenleaf, or Keith David, as his character from The Barbershop. And I can't even remember what his name is, but they don't even call him Bishop Greenleaf. They call him Bishop whatever he was in Barbershop movies when he was shiesty. And, you know, we don't know who he is right now. We don't know. We're still early into episode 1, so I digress. So he greets her at the step, and, you know, he hugs her, and he says, you know, remember what Isaiah said? And she's like, Daddy, Isaiah said a lot of stuff. He talked a lot. And he said, he quoted some scripture, and I am terrible with that. Been in the church 20 plus years and cannot quote scriptures. That is not what I do. But, and it was pretty much just, you know, leave the past in the past, which automatically lets you know that there's some stuff in the past that don't nobody want to talk about that probably needs to be talked about. And so he's just hugging her, and he's like, you know, it's been 20 years. So she hugs him and pulls away, and he's like, just let me hold on to you for a minute. And then you see her mother, and she's looking at her mother over her father's shoulder. And her mother is played by the amazing, the incomparable Miss Lynn Whitfield. And I have loved Lynn Whitfield ever since I saw her portray Josephine Baker, the Josephine Baker story. I have loved Lynn Whitfield and everything French and Parisian and just the language. I took French in junior high and high school and college because of that movie. That movie was the most amazing thing. I was like, that woman's life was just so amazing. Now I will say I am not a fan of Josephine Baker's music, but her life story touched me. So anyway, Miss Lynn Whitfield plays First Lady May Greenleaf, and she's looking at Gigi. Gigi's looking at her, and you like, yeah, there's something there, because they don't look like they get along. They don't look like they're happy to see each other even after 20 years. So as she's standing there talking with her father, Lady May says, aren't you going to greet your Uncle Mac? And Uncle Mac's standing there looking hateful, because he is. And Uncle Mac is portrayed by another amazing actor, Greg Allen Williams. And while we love Greg Allen Williams, I promise you, if you watch this show, you will want to slap Uncle Mac with a cast iron skillet right in the mouth. Don't pull no punches. Just whack him. And so he's standing there looking evil. And Grace's like, eh. And he doesn't even probably give her that much of a response. And then she goes to say hello to her mother. And before hugging her or kissing her, you know, I'm happy that you're home, she says, God, what did she say? Because it was such a good line. I hope you have not come to sow seeds, in the seeds of discord in my peace. And you're just like, damn, is that how you greet your daughter after 20 years? So you know there's some bad blood there. And she was like, yeah, well, hello to you too, Mom. And so they go in, and you see that there's something. So while she's unpacking and they're getting ready for dinner, you cut to Charity and Kevin. Charity is one of the younger siblings of Grace, and she's getting all made up and done up, and her husband Kevin is like, you know, it's just dinner. What are you doing? She's like, it's not just dinner. Gigi's home. Which, again, lets you know that there is something. The fact that Gigi is back after 20 years has everybody off kilter for one reason or another. And so you're waiting to find out why. So then we cut to, you know, the next set of quarters, because this house is so amazing that everyone has their own quarters, not just their own bedrooms. And so we cut to the next quarter, and there's Carissa and Zora. Now, as we get through these reviews and we work with Zora, we will see that she is a mess. And I'm telling you, if I do all 8 of these today, just so you know, yeah, I've already showered. I'm clean. I'm not changing my clothes again. So all 8 of these videos will be in this same shirt. It's not easy being moody. And as you can see, the cat has the same face. Well, that's true. I've been known to be characterized as a moody person, and my last name is Moody. This fits me perfectly. I love this shirt. Anyway. Carissa and Zora are getting ready for dinner, and Jacob is in the bathroom, and she's knocking on the door like, Jacob, we're ready, you know, it's time to go down to dinner. And Jacob is texting, And then he's like, yeah, I'll be right out. And then he puts his phone away and he comes out. And his daughter is meanwhile asking, what is he doing there? And his mother's like, who knows? But I think she does know, because we see he's texting. And if you have to hide in the bathroom to text, that's that side piece. We already know. You don't have to hide in the bathroom to text your friends. You don't have to hide in the bathroom to play fantasy football. But you do have to hide in the bathroom to talk to Becky with the good hair. So, he comes out. Everybody goes down to dinner. So, the whole family is at the dinner table. You got Lady May at the head of one end. You got Bishop James Greenleaf at the other end. And then you have Charity and Kevin and Zora and Sophia and Jacob and Carissa and Gigi and Uncle Mac. Why Gigi and Uncle Mac are sitting next to each other when we already found out on the steps that there is no love lost between them? Why they're sitting together at the dinner table, I don't know, but they are. And so they're just having, you know, praise. Bishop gives a praise report about somebody, credit check, and, you know, they're talking. And then Carissa, I don't like her, and I try, and sometimes I empathize with her and what her situation is, but I don't like her. Let me tell you why. And Carissa is portrayed by Kim Hawthorne, and I don't like her because she's messy. And she starts right in with the mess at the dinner table. And I'm thinking, I don't know how long she and David have been married. David. She is not married to David. We'll get to him later. She and Jacob. And Jacob is portrayed by the ever amazing and ever so gorgeous Lamont Rucker. And we are so used to him being the good guy. He is so not in this show. But Carissa and Jacob are married and they have 2 children, Winky and Zora. I don't know what Winky's real name is. They don't ever refer to the child by his name. All we know is Winky. Cute little boy who's not at dinner, because I guess once you're rich, you know, babies eat first and then y'all eat. I don't know. In my house, we eat together. But Winky is not at the dinner table, thank God. And so they're discussing, let me back up. I got ahead of myself. This is going to be a long video, so if y'all endure it, I appreciate it. But let me back up and say that after Bishop Greenleaf gave the praise report on the lady and her credit and all that, he started talking about, I want to say a senator or somebody trying to get in church business and wanting a meeting and wanting to talk about David. And David is a police officer, and this show is like many shows that are dealing with real issues. David is a police officer who has killed an unarmed black child named Kenny. I forget Kenny's name, but he shot Kenny and killed him. And he is being persecuted in the news. He's being persecuted within the black community. But the kicker is David's black. And they're like, you know, how do we look at this situation when it's a black police officer who has murdered an unarmed black child? And it's then revealed that David is a member of Calvary. But Bishop Greenleaf has no idea who he is because it's a mega church. And this is one problem I have with mega churches. And I've gone to a larger church. It wasn't a mega church. It might be by now because I haven't been there in about 11 years. And I'm sure they've probably grown. But I've gone to a fairly large church where, you know, the pastor has associates and assistants and assistant pastors and who handle a lot of things. And they are, you know, the first offense before, you know, getting to the pastor. And in this case, Bishop Greenleaf says that his team, he never heard from David, even though he's a member, because he has 4,000 members at his church, not to mention any of the sister churches that they also have. He doesn't know all of these people. He just knows that he is a member of the church on the rolls. He doesn't know who he is personally, and he has not spoken to him about the ordeal. And he believes that that's why the senator wants to come to speak to him. And she was like, Gigi, when I say she, was like, if he's a member of Calvary, how come you don't know him? And that was his answer. And that bothers me because you see these large churches, and I mentioned T.D. Jakes and Joel Osteen. And if you look at their churches on television, it's like a concert stadium. There's no way that those pastors have a personal rapport with every member of that church or even knows them. And as I said, I went to a larger church. And I'm sure my pastor doesn't know everybody that went there. But she made an attempt to know everybody. She's a personable person, and she made an attempt to know people. And then but of course there are also not concert seating and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's important as a pastor who is leading a flock to know the flock that he leads. And if you have all of those members, then you need to be in overtime. Because I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a mega church. If you can bring 4,000 souls to God and keep them coming, have at it. But you still need to be able to have that one-on-one. They need to be able to say, oh, you know, Sister so-and-so. And even if you don't know her and you don't see her every week and y'all don't have dinner together, you should know who Sister so-and-so is. Just the basics. Of course, she's a member of your church and you're the pastor. She is of your flock. And if you're supposed to be leading the flock, how do you know if your sheep have gone astray if you don't know who they are? So I do have a problem with that. And Bishop James Greenleaf not knowing who these people are in his church. So, anyway, now we get back to messy Carissa. Carissa starts asking questions, and it's like she's on verbal attack against Gigi. And I'm thinking, I don't know how long Jacob and Carissa have been married, but if Gigi's been gone for 20 years, and their daughter's junior high, high school age, Winky's a baby, they may not have been married, you know, for 20 years. So my thought is she doesn't even know Grace. She knows of Grace through family conversations and pictures. She doesn't know her. And yes, she's family, but she's an in-law. So where do you think you just get off coming at somebody? So automatically, I'm just like, you know what? She messy as hell and I don't like her. So she's like, well, where do you go to church? And Grace tells her where they go to church. And she was like, well, I'm sure they're, you know, lucky to have you, you know, renowned preacher and this, that, and the other thing. And Grace says, to be totally honest, I doubt they even know that we're there. We only pretty much go on Christmas and Easter, which shocks. I mean, you are not a Christmas, Easter Christian when your daddy is the bishop. That is just, the whole family is like, oh, you know, Grace, what have you been doing? And so Carissa just keeps needling. She just keeps needling. Well, what do you believe? Are you one of these spiritual people as opposed to Christian and blah, blah, blah. And Grace gives a very good answer about thinking that all things just try to be a part of God. And that is what she does. And I'm like, to me, that is great because there is no, you know, textbook way to have a relationship with God because that is what is important. I mean, yes, fellowship is important, you know, but the most important thing that I think a lot of people forget within Christianity or any other religions is the relationship with your God. And when I say your God, I know people are like, how are you a Christian? And you say, like, there's more than one. If you read the Bible, then you know that there are. God said he is the greatest of all gods. He did not say he was the only. Read your Bible. Read the whole book. We'll get to that in episode 8. But her, you know, everybody's like, you know, I agree with that. And like, you know, Carissa lighten up and her dad is like, you know, I don't want to keep talking about this. You know, let's move on, blah, blah, blah. And her mother, who we have already seen has a bit of a problem with her, says, no, let's keep this conversation going because I want to know myself. Continue, Carissa. What do you believe, Grace? And so they get to talking, and then the younger sister, and I don't know who's the youngest. I don't know what order chronologically they fall into, but the Greenleaf children are Grace, Jacob, Faith, and Charity. And like I said, I know that Grace is the eldest, and I don't know how the other three fall. But Charity, who's married to Kevin, says, I have an idea for a series that I want to preach. And her father says, you know, you're a songstress. That's your ministry. Why don't you ride that out and leave that preaching thing alone? And she's like, well, you told me I could preach if I had a series. And I do. So she's like, you know, I want to preach on the 12 seasons of a Christian marriage. And the ups and downs, the highs and lows, how you can follow God in your marriage, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so they're joking her at the table and everybody's laughing. It's like, dude, it's 12 seasons, you know. And her mother says, you've been married for 3 years and you do not have any children. You don't even know about the hardships of marriage. How are you going to preach a series? And she goes on to tell her father, well, at this time, Gigi interjects and says she thinks it's a good idea. And she's like, Gigi, don't get on my team, honey. I got this. I was like, what is your attitude? I mean, she's trying to help you out because everybody thinks you're a joke. But I digress. So she goes on some more, and after her father pretty much tells her no, she's not going to preach no series, she says, but you let Jacob preach that series, and he's not even that good. Which is backhanding Jacob in the face. But we later find out Jacob got a whole lot of mess with him, so it's okay, because it was probably deserved. But again, Gigi comes to her defense, and she's like, I told you to back off. I don't need you to defend me. And we're like, what is the animosity? So already, I'm sitting at the table, metaphorically, with this family, thinking everyone at this table has a problem with Gigi, except her daughter Sophia, her father, the bishop, her brother Jacob, and maybe her niece Zora. Everyone else has some issues. Well, and Kevin, but Kevin's just like, I don't know what the hell going on at this table. She lying about series that we done talked about, and everybody's upset with everyone, and I'll drink to that, and there you go. And so, at this point, Uncle Mac, who hasn't said much since they were talking about the senator, speaks up and tells Charity, your father has told you no, and that girl, sit your ass down. Not the right thing to say with Gigi sitting right next to him, because she already 2 minutes off of him. You can tell that from the moment on the stairs. And so when he comes out with that, she pipes up, well, you do not talk to her like that. So which her mother defends Uncle Mac and says, do not talk to your uncle like that. She was going, I told you not to come back here with no mess after I just lost your sister. Which of course sets Gigi off to E. Because she's like, you did not lose my sister. You gave her away. And you got him sitting here at the table with you. And then he had something to say. And Mama's like, cut it out. And she was like, yo, I swear to God. And you know, when you get to that point where you swear to God, the next thing is you about to cut somebody out or slap somebody. And her mother's like, that is enough. This is not Arizona. I think that's where she came from. Where did she come from? Maybe in Phoenix, Arizona, somewhere. Anyway, she's like, you know, and we do not swear to God in this house. So she's mad. Gigi's sitting there looking like, I feel like cussing all of y'all out and leaving. That's why I left here in the first place and ain't been back in 20 years. So that pretty much clears the dinner table. And then we see the couples again. And you have Jacob and Carissa going up the stairs. And she's like, you need to not be on Gigi's bandwagon, because now that she's back, you're going to get pushed further down the totem pole. And I'm the only friend that you have. So you need to respect that and respect our relationship. And while we're at it, tell your side piece to quit calling so damn late. And I was like, you foolish. Because it ain't going to be no quit calling so damn late. It's going to be, I'm finna pack my shit and my kids and go. But people stay for different reasons. I can't explain it, can't get no understanding of it. So then you see Charity and Kevin, and he's like, what was that all about? And why are you so in competition with Grace? And that question is never answered. So we don't know why everyone has so much animosity towards Grace, but it is there. And so before dinner, let me backtrack, I'm missing stuff. But before dinner, Sophia told Grace, well, she asked Grace how come things didn't work out with her and Noah, who is the head security guard and Mr. Fine, salt and pepper, you know, handsome security guard. And she was like, that obvious, huh? I need a better poker face. But she never answers her. And then Aunt Mavis calls, and Aunt Mavis says, you know, after dinner, sneak out, steal one of your dad's cars, come see me, you know, we need to talk. Now, Aunt Mavis apparently is Grace's safe haven in the family. But Aunt Mavis is also the black sheep. So she's not at dinner. She's not at the funeral, which I didn't understand. But she's not there because apparently she don't really socialize with her family. And the family rundown is that you have Bishop, who's a father, Lady May, who's the mother of the family, matriarch. And then Lady May has her siblings, Mavis and Uncle Mac. And they are the McCreadys. And that'll come into play in a couple episodes down. But at the end of the episode, we have Gigi visiting Aunt Mavis at Aunt Mavis's bar down on Beale Street. And Aunt Mavis telling her that her Uncle Mac has been accused by a 15-year-old girl of rape. And then the girl recanted her story. And then we find out that Uncle Mac has also raped Faith. And Faith recanted her story after telling, which is what has put Gigi at odds with her family, because she went to bat against Uncle Mac for Faith, and then Faith recanted. And so Aunt Mavis makes her promise not to leave and to do what she came to do, which is to bring all their dirt at Calvary and in the McCready family and in the Greenleaf family to the light, you know, because what is done in the dark will come to the light, and the truth shall set you free. And so that's where we are, ending the pilot episode, A Time to Heal. I'll be back in a couple minutes with episode 2.